What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another public video for a new biology clinic. I just wanted to take a minute to go over something that I like to call emotional improv. Now, what I'm referring to is when I work with a lot of clients or members, what we tend to see, and we all have experienced, are lack of being able to communicate with people, being able to express what we're feeling, being able to hear somebody, always feeling like a lot of our stresses comes from arguments with loved ones and feeling like there isn't a way to communicate. And this will tend to lead people falling into this feeling, this habit of feeling like they can't bring something up, or feeling like every time there is a conversation or something that needs to be addressed, it turns into a fight. And a lot of times it's because when we're around somebody and we ourselves start to fall into certain patterns in how we respond because it's a defense mechanism, which is understandable. And one of the things I work with a lot of people, and again, not a therapist, but understanding and recognizing what that's doing to our breath, it's what's doing to our body when we find ourselves feeling like we can't say anything, or when we do, it turns into a fight. And in that energy, that emotional drainage that starts to occur is too much. And it's going, this isn't worth being depleted the way we tend to feel a lot of times when we find ourselves in relationships or in general, feeling like we can't speak up, or if we do, it's going to be met with absolute chaos. And the one thing that tends to happen is when I talk to people, they go, I already know what they're going to say. I already know what they're going to do. And I've been there, so I'm not saying I'm separate from it. And the reality is when we take a step back and really think about what is taking place, yes, we might know what somebody's saying, but when we dig a little bit deeper, what we're actually really saying is that I already know their emotional state of being. I already know where they are emotionally. And there's a charge that comes with that. And what I mean by that is someone can tell you, and we do this a lot in acting and or writing a story, is you could tell somebody I love you, or you can tell somebody in a very different way of going, I love you. And as an audience, when we go to a movie or we watch something or we read something, you know the difference. You might say, I heard what you said, but I didn't feel like you meant it. And how many of you been in relationships where it's going, it's not what you said, it's how you said it, right? This gets brought up all the time. And what that's saying is it's going, your words aren't matching your emotional state, or it's going, I'm feeding off your emotional state. And that's essentially what's happening in an argument or when we're in these types of relationships where it's going, I hear what you're saying, but emotionally, I'm not, there isn't a connection. The charge, the energy isn't matching. Or I already know what your emotional state is going to be, as I already mentioned. And people go, okay, well, how do you change that? How does that change in any capacity? And part of it is going to have to be what I call, and I didn't make anything up, but it just makes sense to me. I call it emotional improv. And people could say it's you're listening. Oh, I'm just listening. Okay. You can still listen and have an emotional response that feeds into old patterns. But it is an emotional improv of being able to hear and respond accordingly. But in order for that to take place, you have to be so within yourself to really be able to go, I'm going to lead this improv. I'm going to help direct this emotional improv in that moment or in those situations. And a lot of times when you have two people highly emotional, where it's going, I'm feeling attacked, right? You can say I'm feeling attacked. Well, I'm feeling attacked. It could be one of those things where it's like, that's what you're saying, like, hey, our energies are both here. And it's going to take one of you or one of us to have to then go, I have to be in this state of improv in order for this pattern to shift, if that makes sense. So essentially what we're doing is learning how to go, how can I change the scene? If you have two people in a scene going like, I love you, I love you. Yeah, okay, I whatever, I love you. To then just to be able to go, I love you. And I really do. I really love you. And I just love spending time with you. I love being with you. And it's a matter of going, you're saying the same words, but the emotion is you're trying to change the emotion. So you could be upset with somebody, you could be upset with the situation, but it's going, how can we make the change? And most people will go, I don't. Well, why do I have to change? Well, that's what the healing journey is all about, folks. If we're in a state of going, well, why do I have to change? Why don't they change? They're the one. Okay. Well, if we're gonna keep putting it off on somebody else, the healing isn't gonna get any better. You know what I mean? And it's on us. If we want to see change in our life, if we want to experience healing in a way that feels like, wow, I feel like I'm moving forward, because it's all healing. But if we're in these patterns that feel like we're depleting, our body's going, we can't keep this healing pattern going. It's going to deplete you. It's depleting us. So if it's a matter of you going, I really want to see change, it's going, I have to be the one to initiate the improv emotionally. I have to find it within myself or ourselves to go, I'm going to be the one to then shift this scene. What's the scene, right? Okay, you're having an argument with a loved one. You have the differences of opinion on something. It's going, look, I do hear your point. I understand we have a disagreement on this, but I do hear where like I hear your concern. I really do hear your concern. I'm not attacking you. Like it's like learning how to really let the person, whoever it is, if it is someone you love or someone you care about, being like, if you do love them and you do care about them, it's going, I need you to know that I do love you. No, you don't. No, you don't. Emotional improv. Do you react and go back to that emotional state with somebody, or do you go, I know you might feel that I don't, but I do. And I do care about you, or whatever it is. Because why am I bringing this emotional improv up? Most people that come to me, their issues might be physical, but a lot of people I know are dealing with stresses in their lives on a mental state. And that's affecting their physical being all the time. And I can tell when people come into a session if they've been in a fight with a loved one or dealing with stresses because I see it in their body, I see it in their movement, I see it in their energy. I don't know how else to describe it, but when they come into a session, I'm like, oh, something's up. And it's being present with them. It's again my emotional improv in my sessions even it's going, I need to be aware, I need to be present. Why am I in this scene? Why am I in this moment with this person? Because I want to do my job well. How do I do my job well? I need to be present with you. I need to be open to taking in whatever energy you're bringing. And funny enough, that's what good acting is. Good acting, great acting is authenticity. Authenticity is just being. How do you be? You need to be present. So how do you be present? You gotta breathe and you gotta just looking and experiencing the person or whatever is right in front of you. And so most of you in our lives, when we're in the performance of our life. That is what we're doing. We are in many ways performing. A good performance is authenticity. So being present, you're performing your life. It's not that performance means you have to do it in order to get people's approval, but you're living out a moment. You're living out a scene, an experience. And that's what we need to start getting really good at is being able to recognize, hey, my life is a performance in a way that matters. Like this is an important scene. My life is important, right? Most people, not most, but a lot of people come and say, hey, I don't know where I'm going in my life. I don't know my purpose. That's an important part of a story, your story. Okay, well, we need to then be able to go inward. We need to dig into this. We need to know how to be present, be self-aware. How do you do that? You got to breathe. You got to be with yourself. You have to look at, hey, I'm having this visceral response to this experience and this, I feel like I'm in a pattern here. Okay, well, what's the physical pattern? What's the material pattern? And what are you feeling emotionally there? Is your heartbeat picking up? Does it feel like you're starting to clench? What are you noticing? And is there anything that we can change in that moment? Do you want to keep acting that way? Do you want that same response? No, I don't. Okay, well, what are some things that we can do? We can take some breaths. Do you actually want to be with that person? Right? Or if it's an issue with the relationship, do you really want to be with them? Do you still love them? These are questions. It's unfortunate. It's challenging, but it's part of life. It's like you got to ask these questions. Because what will tend to happen, and I'm just being blunt here, is that we will find ourselves going, I don't want anything to change because it's too stressful for me, but I'm not going to make any, but I'm angry with where I am at. Well, things have to make change. And if you don't want it to be like a blow up and turn it like, okay, well, what can we start to do inward internally that can start making subtle changes so it's not this abrupt, everything's landed on your lap. Now you got to deal with all this, right? And one of the things we can do is breathe and start looking at our lives and going, okay, here's an emotional improv that I can do. Okay, I go into work. I'm stressed out with work. I don't like talking to my boss. It bothers me. Okay, I what can we do? Every time we're talking, I feel tension. Okay, can you take a breath in that moment? I feel like they're always gonna yell at me, or I feel like I'm always something not doing something right, or they're gonna ask me for something new. Can I respond differently? If instead of being like, yeah, I'll do it right away, and then tensing up, take a breath and say, I'm happy to do it when I have time. It's as simple as that. It doesn't seem like much, but that shift and that subtlety of your emotional state is now creating a different response. So they might respond differently. And this is one of those things that's very fascinating about when we do this work or this emotional improv, where we're not necessarily meeting somebody here when it doesn't need to get to here. What tends to happen is a lot of times the people on the receiving end, because they're also maybe used to being there with you, and they might even be the one to initiate it. But if you don't match them, what tends to happen, if you've done this, it can very much diffuse the situation pretty quick. Not always, but it does happen. And you might see someone go like, wait, you're not going to yell back? No, I don't want to. I don't want to yell. I really don't want to. I would love to talk to you about it. And maybe we should talk when we're both down here. And if we're not going to be down here, I'm going to wait until we are. And it's easier said than done because you got all these programmings in your body and your body learning a certain habit, a certain pattern to survive. And it takes a lot of self-work to then go, we're not going to do that right now. But the body doesn't know that. The only way it's going to know it is if we got this, we don't need to do this again, and give it the breath that it's asking for. Because once that breath comes in, we can start to gather ourselves. And how do I know this? Because how many of you been in an argument with somebody you love or any somebody and it's a blow up? And then as time has passed, you might go, damn, I did not handle that well. That was not handled well. And I didn't want to blow up. And again, it happens, but if it's happening all the time, what are we experiencing? Well, in those moments, we're going, well, we had time to reflect. We had time to breathe. We had time to really think about that emotional charge that we were in. And it's going, I just felt like I couldn't, I just had to get it out. It's going, I get it. But if we want to see change, we have to be able to change the response. And the way I like to view it, going back to storytelling, it's like imagine watching a play and you're watching the same scene over and over, and the actors do it the exact same way, the exact same time. And it's not like you've seen it for the first time and that's all you did. You're seeing the same play every single day. After a while, you're gonna get bored. Why? Because it's predictable. There's nothing new to it. There's nothing that makes you go, okay, I'm on the edge of my seat because now I don't know where this is gonna go. I actually know where it's going, and it's predictable. And how we can change that is a subtle change in how we respond in the scene. Two people are yelling. They go, okay, here we go. He's gonna yell, she's gonna yell. They're gonna threaten to leave. They're gonna threaten to do this. They're not gonna talk for 3 days. I know it's gonna. I've seen this scene. Okay, I get it. What's next? Now all of a sudden, the guy just gives her a hug. And as an audience, you're going, wait, wow, that just gave me a different emotional feel. Wow. She tries to be like, no, I don't want your hug. And I love you. And I know we're going through a lot, but I love you. You might go, holy, now I'm invested in the story again. There's growth, right? I know this might be like I'm all over the place, but what that is it's responding to the moment. It's a change within somebody, you, to be able to go, I'm going to change this emotional state. And that's an improv because you might know what the person's going to do, but you're responding, you're present with the stress. Many of us don't want to be present with stress. And I get it. I've been there too. So my point in this video is to hopefully allow you all an opportunity to ponder that and go, okay, this is me being in a moment in a scene with somebody, and it's an authentic scene. It's real. It's very real. It's your life. But how can I change this scene? Well, you have to do a little improv. You have to be present with the person. You have to be able to take a breath, not let the high emotion, if it doesn't call for it, take over. So try it. Tell me what y'all think. Would love to hear your thoughts. Again, if it doesn't make sense or if you're having trouble understanding, feel free to reach out at newbiologyclinic.com. You can find me there. You can find me in the classes, find me in group sessions, etc., webinars and whatnot. So if you have anything you need from me, happy to help however I can. But on that, I hope you have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you then. All right, bye.